Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to embark on a journey like no other. Welcome to the Glum Lot Podcast,
your go-to destination for a unique blend of recovery and discovery.
I'm Brett.
And I'm Mark. And in this podcast, we will endeavor to create a safe and uplifting space for our guests and listeners to share their stories with sincerity and a touch of humor.
Remember, we are not a Glum Lot. The Glum Lot Podcast is more than just a source of entertainment. It's a beacon of hope, proving that even in the darkest moments, recovery is possible. Every story we share carries the power to inspire positive change.
So buckle up, get ready to listen, and join us in discovering the strength that lies within every individual's journey. This is the Glum Lot Podcast, where humor meets hope.
And welcome to episode number 70 of the Glum Lot Podcast. Brett.
Hi, Mark.
So good to see you again.
My
It's
gosh.
so good to have you on the program.
It's perfect to be on the program.
Yes. So we want to remind our listeners to join our Facebook group, the Glum Lot Podcast Facebook group, and also to like and subscribe on whatever platform you listen to. And if you want to talk to us or reach us, just email us at theglumlotpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your feedback and experiences with the show and anybody that you might want to recommend to us.
Or if you want to be on the show,
Ooh, that's a good idea, too.
get a hold of us. So,
Yes,
Brett, what's on your
please.
mind today?
I saw I read several daily reflections, and one of them today really kind of hit me. It's pretty deep, but it's basically saying, our life is like a canvas, right? And there's two ways we can go about it. And the way I took it and reflected on it was, boy, my life prior to becoming what I am now, sober, and living in sobriety, I'm pretty sure my canvas would have turned into something very abstract. Lots of holes in it, lots of rips, tears, all sorts of things that I probably wouldn't be too proud of. And I was thinking, how would it be different now? First of all, I think I would have taken that one originally and probably thrown it in the trash.
The original canvas of your life?
Yes, because I was not proud of it. Now, I think about what my canvas would look like, and the experiences that I have now, the things that I do, are more like brushstrokes every time, and it talked about that. And those brushstrokes, I believe, are pretty beautiful. And I think all those experiences that I'm having, and I had one today that was beautiful. And I think about that, and I think the remainder of my time on this earth, I think I'm going to end up with a pretty beautiful painting.
A lot of our beautiful experiences now involve helping other people.
Yeah.
Don't they?
Yeah.
We help other people when we feel our best.
That's right.
And, as far as a canvas goes, I'm a big fan of abstract art and a big fan of Jackson Pollock. Now, a lot of people can throw paint on a canvas and it doesn't work. He made it work.
Sure.
And same thing with a lot of art I've seen. A lot of times paintings lack an element of harmony to me.
Yes.
And I guess that can be unsettling, and maybe that's what an artist goes for. But as far as talking about a canvas of my life, I want mine to have the serenity of Monet's Water Lilies at Giverny.
Ooh, I like
Not to
it.
get too deep.
Perhaps a Renoir,
Yes.
that nice.
Soft, just light,
Yeah.
just peaceful,
Yep.
peaceful but vibrant.
And
Boy, isn't that something to shoot for? Peaceful but vibrant?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think we both are kind of peaceful but very vibrant.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Yeah, for better or worse.
Yeah. Sometimes I look like a Picasso. At
Yeah.
least that's the way I think I look inside my head.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
I look like
That's a whole nother
a
topic.
cubist rendition of myself. But anyways,
yeah.
so that's something to think about and try to
Yeah.
visualize.
I think I'm
but-
going to be pretty proud of that painting at the end, too.
Yes. Now, who's our guest today, Brett?
Ooh, our guest is Jen.
Yeah.
Came very highly recommended from somebody that has been a very big part of the show. And she has been involved with some of the other people on our show, and I am extremely excited.
Yes.
We've been talking for quite a while.
Yeah.
And, it finally came to fruition, and today is the day that we get to talk to Jen.
Okay, everyone, let's meet Jen.
Jen.
Welcome to the podcast, Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Hi Brett. Hi, Mark.
We are so glad to have you here. And can we start off with your sobriety date?
Sure. It's November 8th, 1988.
Okay. And do you remember your first experience with alcohol and or drugs?
No.
Really?
It was that good.
Okay, well then don't tell me about it.
Wait, so you're 36 years?
35.
Oh, 35.
It'll
We're
be
almost at
36
36.
in November.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes. We always had alcohol around our house.
Yeah.
And I don't know when, I had my first experience with it. I know the first time I had a blackout was not good. It was between the time I was 12 and 13. And I really had a bad experience. I probably won't even talk about that,
Okay.
in this setting. But
Yeah.
it was
Well,
a
that's
really
okay, yeah.
bad experience.
12 or
And-
13 having a blackout, that's
Bad
pretty
enough.
intense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do remember before the bad stuff happened, my friend that I was tenting out with had already passed out, and I had been throwing up and stuff, but just like I continued to do all my life, I just muscled through that. And I had the little transistor radio on, and I was out dancing outside of the tent and stuff, But so I was always somebody that could hang out for a
You know
very
what? I've
long
heard
time.
that called puke and rally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Boot and get scooting. Yeah.
That's part of our sick behavior.
So, what were you like before, and what were you like when you consumed? What was the difference?
I
Like
think
that first time that you think of?
I just loved the whole escape thing of it, but I also feel like I was a pretty outgoing person anyway. I was active in sports and, felt like I had quite a few friends anyway, but and loved to have a good time.
Yeah.
And the drinking just really enhanced that.
Amped it up.
Yep. And the bad stuff that was going on in my life, it just gave me a little shelter
Okay, so you
from
had
that.
some troubles
yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah, my
Okay.
my dad was an active alcoholic and
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
a very nice guy, but
I
yeah.
gotcha.
So, I was on my own when I was considered to be an emancipated teenager
Okay.
when I was 16, and I had my own apartment. Not really an apartment, a room.
Okay.
And I remember it was $40 a month, $40 a week, which was manageable for me at the time because I had a good part-time job. And, But at the same time, I was like a chameleon. I was captain of the soccer team.
Nice.
And here I am, staying out until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and then crawling to school.
Yeah. So are you largely unsupervised at this time of your life?
Oh, completely unsupervised.
Yeah, you're
except
living on
for-
your own pretty much,
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Except for my attendance in school, I was unsupervised, yeah.
So
Yet you were still mature enough to be the captain of the soccer team.
Right.
So
but,
you were able to be like that on the outside.
yeah, and I really had high aspirations, and I think, a lot of us do, and I had planned on being a doctor, and I had good grades, going into high school. Was a good student going into high school, but you can see how it just went, downhill from there. And I don't know if you've ever heard the term where alcoholics will, normal people will change their lifestyles to meet their goals, and alcoholics will change their their goals to meet their lifestyle. And that was me for sure. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I just kind of surrendered to
yeah,
it.
the bar keeps getting lower
Yeah.
to protect your booze.
Exactly
Yeah.
right.
Were you
Yeah.
a daily drinker?
Yes, until I had my son. I had my son at 19, and I definitely was a daily drinker. I also was kind of a garbage head. I would take anything. I smoked a lot of weed when I was in high school. Yeah, I was.
You were up for anything.
What's that?
You were up for anything.
Yeah, I never was offered IV heroin or anything
Yeah,
like that. But
thank
Well, you and
know,
me got to be about around the same age, I think, probably. And it just wasn't around.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was in high school and I graduated in 78, how far away is that from you?
Just you're 2 years ahead of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, heroin never even, that was something you saw on TV that inner city people were, strung out,
Yeah.
junkies. And we were all smoking dope, drinking beer, doing the occasional speed or whatever,
Booze.
acid, whatever we could get our hands on, thinking it's completely different than that.
Yeah.
And that's a road we would never cross.
Well, that was kind of actually attractive to me. I remember they used to have these posters of like really skinny girls like strung out and smoking cigarettes. And I'd be like,
don't do drugs.
Cool. Yeah, don't do drugs.
And you're like,
We
I'm
thought it
thinking,
was cool because of an
look
image,
at
right?
tall, skinny, looks
Yeah,
like
the
she's
image.
having, not
Yeah.
a care in the world.
Why should
but,
I not do drugs?
Right. In fact,
Yeah.
They didn't think of that, did they?
But like I
So-
used to sell speed in high school to,
Yeah.
make
Sure.
extra money so I could pay for my room.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So,
Did you graduate?
I was just gonna
Actually,
say.
I didn't.
Sorry.
Like I said, the attendance was the only supervision that I had when I was a senior. And I'd taken AP classes and all that and done well in those. When I was a senior, I didn't have the attendance to graduate. I did go back. I moved to Texas, like very dramatically the day everybody graduated. And I came back later that year and took one English class, and I got my diploma. So.
Did anybody at the school sit you down, a guidance counselor or anything, and say, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, well, we had this principal, Mr. Graney, and oh my God, he was such a great guy. My sister actually moved out with me too, and she was younger. I'm the oldest of 4 girls, and he knew that there was a lot going on at my house. And
Right.
so he would come, we would be smoking cigarettes or whatever in the bathroom, and he'd come in and pound on the door and say, God damn it, you get to class, you assholes. And I can remember once my sister, I came in one day and I was on time to school and I was in my 12th grade social studies class, and Mr. Graney, the principal, came in and he indicated for me to come outside. And I'm like, what am I didn't do anything today, And he says, here's $5 in my keys. Your sister just stole 2 packs of cigarettes from the stop and go. Go get her and get her back here before they take her to jail.
Oh, my gosh.
He was
So
amazing.
he cared about the kids.
Yeah.
He cared
clearly.
about us, I mean, he really did care about the kids, and he was really good to our family. So, yeah.
So you get out back from Texas and you take the extra class. You do get your diploma, right? Then what do you do?
Oh, just taking jobs at like McDonald's. I worked at a factory for half a day. Here's me that wanted to be a doctor, and this is me now.
But your analogy about changing the goals.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So great.
I know that when I started doing the same thing you did in high school, my aspirations got lower and lower and lower
without a
until
doubt.
there just weren't any. And I was like, I'm just going to see what happens. Yeah. And I just continued to drink until I kind of started to get my shit together. But it took me a while.
Yeah.
And, everybody knows that when you start using heavily, that your maturity stops. You stop growing. And so here I am, a 30-year-old guy coming into AA with the mentality of a 14-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Wow, you were 14? I think I was 9.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, not me, no.
You were way advanced.
Yeah, I was a real late bloomer at 14.
Well, that's the thing. I think you're absolutely right. And I think that, I was thinking about that the other day. I've really grown up in AA. I grew up with the help of all these amazing women that welcomed me in the rooms, and, guys, too, that were just so kind to me and, taught me how to be not so much of a derelict hard ass and be more of a grow up and be a woman of dignity and honor. And that didn't happen right away, but I did. I was just so grateful for the old timers that were here and just kind of held my hand through things.
So you're in your very early 20s and you're floating around in these jobs, drinking, doing
You got a
whatever
child
you
now?
get your hands on. You got a kid?
Now I have a child. I actually married the father of my son, and that lasted for about 10 months, I think. I was wild. I remember he picked me up. Do you remember the Spring Fest they used to have up north of here?
Yes.
Like there was Foghat and
all these
Steppenwolf and
bands,
stuff
the
like
big
that.
outdoor you camp out for the weekend. Yeah.
So I'd gone up with my sister and a couple of friends, and I had a pocket full of purple Microdot, and we locked our keys out of the car. So that's how, we locked our keys in the car. So we couldn't even get to the beer that we had. So I had that pocket of acid, and we just did that all weekend. And then, whoever we met gave us booze and stuff. And So because the keys were locked in there, my husband had to come up and pick me up.
Uh-oh.
Oh, right. It was pretty awful. And I was mud. We used to call it Mud Fest.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Head to toe. I lost my shoes. One of my halter straps is broken. And, get in the car. And he says, he started putting newspaper down. It wasn't even our car. And the baby's in the back seat, and he's like 6 months old at the time, and he hadn't fed him. And I'm like, just like shaking, and so it was just such a mess. And anyway, we were two different people.
Well, yeah,
he didn't
and
do
that's
that kind of stuff.
how unmanageable things can get. You know, it's funny you talk about the outdoor music fest thing, and it was the first time I ever went to that. It was a real eye opener for me because previous to going to that, we were just really careful about cops and, all that stuff and hiding things and all that. And I go up to this thing, and it is just like
Free-for-all.
It is a free-for-all.
Oh, yeah.
And I just remember this one thing. This one kid, he had a white T-shirt on, and on his T-shirt in magic marker, he had a menu of what he was selling and how much. He would say, Black Beauties, $1. Good acid, $5. Really good acid, $8. Joints, and he had a freaking menu on him.
That's so
and he's just
funny.
walking around, and everybody's like running up to him, just handing him money, and he's bags.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I'm like, how is this guy getting away with it? It's
Wow.
because they wanted, as long as no one got killed,
Right.
that was their goal.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Yeah.
whole weekend was like that. And it was very communal. And there was kind of a cool Woodstocky vibe to it.
Oh, yeah. I loved it.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people did not fare well there, but you didn't really see it.
Did you have hippie tendencies?
Yeah, I mean, my husband and I still love the Grateful Dead, and we love jam bands, and we try to
Nice.
go as much music as
No
Do
kidding.
you know anything about the yellow balloon groups at those things?
No, but I know about the Wharf Rat.
That's
There
the yellow
it
balloon
is.
group. the
Oh,
Wharf Rat
okay,
thing.
all right,
thing. But
yeah.
All these bands have them now. We had on a guy a
Yeah.
couple episodes ago from Michigan who is the national coordinator for the Humphreys McGee
Oh, okay.
Yellow Balloon Group.
Yeah.
Oh,
And he
okay.
talked extensively about it. And now, they're starting to have them at NFL games now.
Oh, it's so
I was
funny.
like,
I've
what a
never
great
heard
idea.
it
What a great
called
idea.
that. Okay, that's
Yeah, Yellow
interesting.
Balloon Group.
Yeah, there's different
great.
artifacts. Some people have a what is it? One.
That's common to all of them. They have a round yellow sticker that says
Okay.
one show at a time.
That's it. One show at
Okay.
a
And you
time.
wear that
All
sticker,
right.
and it identifies you to other people who are in recovery.
Yeah.
Okay.
To kind of hang with you and they check
Get
on
you
each other.
through.
It's really cool. Brett and I have never experienced it, but we just think it's cool as
Oh,
hell.
heck yeah, man.
I'll look out for. I'll see
Have
it
a
as
meeting
soon as
by
I
the
get
old
there
oak
next
tree
time.
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
sets.
Yeah, check it out.
But when I first started going to live music, it was really hard for me at first. Like I went
Sober?
to see Little Feat, at
Yeah.
the Landmark Theater, and I had to leave like after 6 songs.
Everybody's
Everybody
getting
was
high,
smoking
right?
weed, and it
Yeah.
just was like I got so angry that I couldn't do that anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Sure.
I mean, I'm grateful that I didn't feel like that for too long, and I did the right thing by
You knew
getting
what to
out
do.
of there.
You did,
but
yeah.
yeah. But now it's just like, it just doesn't have that value to me anymore.
No, it
You know?
lost its appeal. And also, it's always good to go with a group of sober people. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
Yeah.
So, get back to your story.
Music and-
You're going to these outdoor festivals, you and your husband. It's not going to be a match. You got a kid.
Right.
You're off the rails. What happens?
So we end up getting joint custody, and the days that Matt is with me, I'm drinking wine at home after he goes to bed. And as soon as he leaves at 5 o'clock on Friday, I'm telling you, if my husband was 5:01, I was furious because I
Oh,
just
yeah,
was
you were
so
just
primed and ready to
go.
go. And then he would have him until like Monday morning, and I'm so ashamed of how I acted like with my son. My son was so little, and I would just, by the time I picked him up, I'd be so wasted from the weekend or so like depressed and crying and thinking I was such a loser. And I mean, that was just such
It's
a
all part
dark,
of the disease.
dark time. Yeah.
It is dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did there come a time in this era of your life where something became apparent to you about your disease, or there was a wake up call of any kind or anything like that?
Well, I had gone to meetings when I was 16.
Did you?
Yeah, somebody did like a mini intervention. They had me go to this counselor with my family, and it was so ironic because my dad was such an
Right.
alcoholic. And they're
Right.
like, I think you should go to AA meetings. And
Oh,
You're like, what
really?
about him?
Yeah.
yeah, I know.
How about the
At
pot
that
calling
point,
the
I
kettle
wasn't
black?
even looking at him,
Yeah.
But So I went to Columbus Park meetings. I think it was a Monday night meeting. And I just I've heard on this podcast and I've heard all the time that there's just a bunch of old men complaining about things, you know what I mean, or how old it used to be and all this. I spilled more than you drank and blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, so I mean, obviously wasn't ready. It didn't stick then. I did try it a few times. But I remember this guy that I used to just we'd hang out. He had come over and it was Christmas time, and it was probably one of those days I just got Matt back, or I was waiting for him to go, and I was just so anxious and not drunk. And I'd picked up the Christmas tree and thrown it. And my little boy is only 3 years old or something like that, you know? And so this guy's looking at me geez. And the next week he asked me out. We went to this little restaurant, and he said, you remind me of my mom. And he wasn't drinking. He didn't have a drink, which was really strange. I didn't hang out with people that didn't drink, I don't think. And
Normie.
yeah, and so he just said, she's a bag lady, and she lives on the streets, and things have been really difficult for us. And
you reminded him of her?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was kind of
Gee, thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
No, but
Where are we going to dinner?
I knew he cared about me, and I knew I was messed up. You know what I mean? I knew that I was living like I didn't want to live. I promised myself. I had a grandfather that was a drunk, and he was a jazz pianist, and he used to go and have so much fun, and he was a fun drunk. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
My dad was mean and miserable, and I didn't want to be that way, and all of a sudden, I'm him, so...
Yeah, throwing Christmas trees.
So you know what? Talk about changing your goals. I thought to myself after that, bag lady. Now, when my son graduates from high school, maybe gets into college, I'll be so many years old, and then... Well, I could be a bag lady.
Jesus.
Boy, that would be a load off.
But
No rent, no house to take care of, just the bag.
Holy moly. It's just so ridiculous. But I used to drink down at the Matador. Do you remember that place?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. It's a dumpy bar in the middle of the city. We are a lot of criminals.
Yeah, guys that I dated wouldn't even go in there with me, you know what I mean? But I was a regular there.
Yeah.
But anyway, and they did have a lot of homeless people coming in and going out.
Yeah.
But so anyway, thank God I did have the wherewithal.
You didn't go the bag lady route?
No, but I had hooked up with this guy, and we started dating, and he was a crack addict.
Oh.
And so same kind of thing, we weren't doing anything when Matt was there, but then eventually I started doing that too. And I am so grateful to this day for that drug, because it took me to my knees so fast.
No kidding.
Because I think I'd still have been working on the bag lady thing for quite a while.
Right. But it just destroyed you?
Just destroyed me. It just was what are you doing? I just was we were spending all of our money.
No, and you say quickly, how much time did it take from...
It really didn't take that long. I mean, it was
a couple months?
Maybe closer to a year, but he had gone to 4 rehabs because he was the one with the problem, not me, right?
Yeah.
But he really was into it.
But
really
how did
bad.
it take you to your knees?
Well, it's just I don't want to be a crack addict. I don't want to be. I mean, the things that you would do for crack cocaine, it's
all-consuming?
A monster. Yeah. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. From the very first hit, it's hit.
Where do I get
Where
more?
can I get more? It's just that quick. You know what I mean? It's just this.
So you found yourself doing those types of things to grab. I got you.
Yeah.
So you went to places you never thought you would go. You never wanted to go, and there you are.
Yeah.
And you had that wherewithal to know the difference.
Yeah. And so he'd started going to counseling after rehab, and they said that they thought unless I could stop drinking, then I probably should move out. I also, during this time, had gotten a notice that my son was my husband, ex, was filing for sole custody. Yeah. So
he knew, too, that your life was off
because
the
I
rails.
was unmanageable. I'm just a crazy woman. And, I was still working. I don't know how many jobs I had during that time, but I actually went to Bryant and Stratton and got a 2-year accounting degree.
Oh, so the local college there? Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Name dropping here. But no, it wasn't quite the medical school I planned to go to. But it was a business school, and it worked out pretty well for me. But anyway, yeah, I just finally said, I can't pay rent, and I don't want to lose my child, and I've got to do something. And for some reason, I ended up at the 7:30 early bird meeting over on the west side, and I just.
Now, did you just get yourself there?
Yeah.
You just thought, you know what, I got to do something.
There.
I'm going to go to this meeting.
Yeah. And it was the first one that I saw in the morning that was, close enough to me
on
that
the
I
schedule?
could get to. Yeah.
So you go to this meeting, do you raise your hand?
Yep, I did. I don't remember a ton about it.
No, we never do.
People remember their first meeting. I really don't. I remember, the styrofoam cups. I used to make designs in the top of it with my thumbnail and stuff.
And fingernails.
And all these nervous ticks.
Yeah, going up for coffee. And I feel like people were kind of just throwing me back into play because I was so unsteady. But I was 26 at the time. And, I just think when the people say, what do you remember about your first meeting? I just remember people saying, I'm so glad you're here. And I hope you come back. And me thinking, God, I never finished anything in my life, or I never stuck with anything in my life. And if you don't do this, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Or you're going to,
Did any of the women connect with you at that first meeting?
Yeah. And people gave me their numbers right away. And I think that me being a little bit of an extrovert helped me, because I would say, somebody'd say, we're going to watch a football game this weekend. We're having a party. And I'd say, oh, can I come?
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'd invite myself.
Yeah.
They didn't know.
That's good.
Me, but yeah. So I was really lucky in that way. And I got involved with, the nation meetings on the local reservation, and with this great group of people that were doing a lot of fun things, like going whitewater rafting and all of that, because I needed to have fun. I couldn't just come in here and...
Plus experiencing
you mean
that
crackheads
fellowship.
aren't going out on the rowdy river and having fun together?
When we were drinking?
No, crackheads. I've never seen a bunch of them out there.
Oh, no. But we used to do that.
Yeah.
The Black River, what was it called? The Tube Fest.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You throw a tube in, it's basically a big drinking thing.
Right, and you kind of connect all the tubes, and a lot of people have a keg in the middle. And
fucked up.
Right.
Yeah, almost.
So you go to this first meeting, you meet people, and you start making some progress. You start working the stops. You get a sponsor?
Yes, I got a temporary sponsor, and then another person that you had on kind of tapped me on the shoulder one day and said, let's go have coffee at Denny's. And she was a cop and like this fiery little redhead, and it scared me a little bit. And I said, okay, I will. So she said, let's start, I know you've got a sponsor, but let's start working on these steps. And I'm telling you, for 22 years, that woman just saved my life.
Wow.
She was amazing. She gave me a truck to use once when I didn't have one. I had 2,400 miles on it.
Here we go again.
Wow.
Who does that?
Exactly. Where do you find that in the world?
Yeah.
I know you're a drunk and have problems. Here's my car.
Yeah. You've been sober for a few weeks. Here you go.
Yeah.
Use this.
You got this.
I trust you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, eventually I got out of that relationship, and I, the guy that I came in with, and I just was, just hanging out with some great women and some great groups of people, and I was going to all the night meetings along with the early bird meeting, and life really started to change for me, and it took me a long time to actually start growing up, because like you said, we started so early, and we started so early. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We started on like the 3-yard line when everybody was where they're supposed to be, right?
Right.
Yeah, so...
Did you start working the stops?
Yes, yeah, with Kate. She was amazing.
Yeah, I love Kate.
Yeah.
So you can go back and listen to her in episode number I do not know, but they are all on the list.
Yeah.
And,
It's our only Kate.
Kate H.
Yeah.
She was
Kate
earlier
H.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, fun fact. I went to a school all my years and graduated with Kate H. from high school.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, small world.
Interesting. Yeah.
She walked up to me at a meeting. She goes, "Do you remember me?" I'm like, "No." And then she says her name. I'm like, "No." Then she says her maiden name. I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I do."
Yeah. So we probably
And we've been
I went to a
since.
school that was just adjacent to that.
Oh,
one,
okay.
so, yeah.
We probably know some of the same people.
I'm sure we do.
Tis a small
I think
world.
everybody that has an alcohol problem came from this area.
Yeah, it did. You know,
So many guests
the
on
area
our
that I
show.
grew up in the time that I grew up in.
Yeah.
You know, that's where everybody comes from. But
I'm not
I don't know.
kidding.
I don't know how you turned out to be an alcoholic.
I'll tell you what, I must have been rare in this area. I was a rare find.
But we were out in the country, and, we just
Yeah.
field parties and stuff like that. There wasn't very
Plus,
much
the
else
drinking
for us
age
to
was
do.
18, which means it
Yeah.
was de facto 16.
Right.
And drinking was not looked at like it is now. It was very fully accepted and part
Yeah.
of growing up, and it
Rite
was
of
just
passage
part
stuff.
of rite of passage, all that stuff. It wasn't recognized. The problem, no, there weren't DWIs were very rare.
Oh,
the
yeah.
cops would follow you home.
Yeah.
Or just take your keys and say you walk home.
For a while, I worked at Denny's, and all the cops would come in at night. I worked the midnight shift, so I got to know all of them. And I'm telling you, I would be blind driving on the west side. And
if you're in Sri
one of them would
Lanka,
pull me over.
if you're in Sri Lanka, Denny's is like an all-night eatery with breakfast and coffee
and a lot of drunks.
Yeah,
and,
2 o'clock. 2 o'clock.
Or
The
if you're in
bars
the
would
South,
close.
it's Waffle
Yeah.
House.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
So,
But these cops would pull me over, and they'd be like, "Oh, John, what's going on?"
John.
John. And if they had somebody with them, they'd take my car, and I would,
They'd say, John, I'll
get me home. It was just amazing.
I'll have a Grand Slam breakfast.
Your moon's over my hammy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my goodness. So, you've gotten through the steps a little bit. What was the best part of that for you? What was the most, like jarring or like impactful part of it?
I can remember doing the fourth step and went up to this. I went to NA for a while too.
Okay.
I went to an NA retreat north of here, and my son went with me. And these guys went and took my son out in the boat, and they took him fishing and stuff. And he's
Nice.
like 6 years old. He was
that
just
was
they
awesome.
were so good to him. Yeah. So I just went and did this tried to work on my fourth step, and I'll tell you. I thought to myself, if I can't, I was just so upset about how I had treated my son. And, even though it wasn't really like physical stuff, it was just so emotionally, just a little kid. He's so innocent and such a good kid. And if I couldn't, I realized at that point, if I couldn't forgive my dad for the way he treated us, then I probably couldn't forgive myself.
Wow.
So that was a really strong realization, and it also sent me into this tailspin of depression because I didn't have a good third step, for one thing. I didn't really believe in a higher power at that time.
Okay,
and,
yeah.
Anyway.
But talk about breaking the cycle,
Yeah,
right?
I hope so.
Yeah, I too broke the cycle, and I thought I was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And I was the first one in my lineage to get sober after generations.
Yeah.
But that second and third step, that tripped you up a little bit?
It did. And now, in hindsight, I'm so glad that there was the third tradition, that the only reason, the only requirement is to not, to
Yeah.
Desire to stop drinking.
desire to stop drinking, not to believe in God and all this kind of stuff, because I just didn't. I mean, I didn't come from religion. I didn't grow up with it. But through the years, I just watched people that did have a faith, and I was like, well, this can't all be, and I thought about people like Mr. Graney in my life, and about the cops, and about all the people that have been in my life that were like angels, that just kind of guided me through. And I eventually came up with, maybe it's not the same as my husband who's Catholic, his religion. I really feel like it's love. No matter what, it's love. And the love I feel in AA, and the love now that I've allowed myself to feel outside of AA, I mean, there's so many good people in the world.
Hear, hear.
And I also wish that I'd read the thing in the back of the book about spirituality, like you really didn't have to believe in, But anyway, so I eventually got there, and I did a great fourth step and just started working at it.
Was your fifth step revealing to you?
Yeah, and it was funny because about 5 years later, I said to Kate, I was like, I think I'm selfish. And she's like, well, Kate, she's like,
Yeah.
No shit, Jennifer. So things were revealed to me as it could handle them, I think,
Yeah.
But, and then I also met a great guy in AA, and he's got a year more than I do. And when my friend first told me that he wanted me to date him, I was thinking, oh my God, I'll ruin that man. He's so nice. And
He has
he's
no
just
idea.
so sweet. No, I don't think that would be a good idea. And, I gave myself a chance, and we've been married for 27 years now.
Wow.
And he's such a great guy. I mean, I don't deserve him.
Wait, did you hear that? She said you're a great guy.
Yeah.
He is.
If you listen to this.
He really is, and he helps so many guys out.
Yeah,
And,
he's still very active in AA, too?
Oh, yeah. He's got
Awesome.
his regular home group, and he goes to like a few meetings a week. We both do. So, yeah.
That's great.
Amazing.
It's a good life.
We talk about the fellowship part of the program and how it changes us by osmosis. We start hanging out with sober people, and we don't, at first, understand their ways, and then we slowly end up acting like them if we stick around, and we start imitating their behaviors and the things they say. And, can you talk a little bit about that, about your experience with that?
Yeah. I mean, I just, I didn't believe that I could have any fun without a drink or anything like that. And I saw these people having fun. So that was my first, eye opener, that really I didn't have to have booze or drugs in my system to enjoy myself. And I think one of the most powerful things to me is not people that come in here and it's been so easy for them, but it's people in my life that have had such tragedy in their life, and they come back to a meeting the next day. I remember this guy, Early Bird, so it was early on, came in the meeting, and he told us that his daughter had committed suicide the night before at college. Right. And he was there.
Jesus.
He was right there with us.
Yep.
Yeah. And that was just so powerful to me. And I've had friends lose other children, and it just they come here and they continue to support people, and people support them. And it's just, I don't know if that answers your question, but it's just to me.
I mean,
that's pretty attractive.
Yeah.
It is.
Especially when there's nothing else like it in the world. I say this all the time. I challenge you to find something like this anywhere else.
Yeah, and it's everywhere. I mean, I love to travel, and that's the first thing I do is I'll look up where there might be a meeting, because
everywhere.
And it doesn't matter where you are.
You're going to connect.
And people are like, "Hey, glad to see you. Glad you came," and all that. Just
even
like
it
was when I first came in.
Even the one Zoom meeting that I went on, where they had all reptiles hanging over their necks and shoulders, and they had all sorts of
It was a reptile-themed meeting?
lizards and everything else, but it was still AA and still the same, just like their...
Were you the only one in the room without a reptile?
Yeah, exactly. So I had to quickly go get a stuffy that my kid had of a chameleon and just had that. But that's just my sense of humor. But it was the same thing, right? It's just...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Now, have you had the opportunity to sponsor other people?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I mean, at first
Is it important?
I didn't... Yes.
Well, I'm just asking.
Oh my God, Brett. Yes. I mean, you just
Brett, come on.
Why?
The girl I've been sponsoring recently, we really dove into the steps, and it's not something that I read every day now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just going back and reading that stuff, and
It's different every time.
my sponsor, we don't talk a lot, but I know she's there for me. And we were doing a book study for a long time with another girl that she sponsors, and just reading some of this stuff together and talking about how we feel about it and learning about it. And just the insight that these people had is just so freaking amazing to me. Just can't even...
It's like you're doing them all over again with somebody else.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it really...
It's almost like it was non-human that put that all together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then being able to experience it with somebody that's so grateful that you're doing this. And you know what I mean? Just like I felt with Kate. It just was how are you giving me your time? You're so busy. How are you giving me so much time and energy and love, and still having time to do everything that you do? Why are you doing this? And then when I started, having some success, I had a lot of people that weren't successful. But, yeah, I mean, it's not that I'm successful. They just happen to be doing well. So,
yeah.
Well, they had a good guide. Right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean...
Well, that's what we do when we sponsor.
Yeah, but you can still drink no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
No matter who's holding your
the
hand.
bottom line is it's really up to them. And all I do with people is I do what my sponsor did with me.
Yeah.
That's really all.
Yeah.
I share my experience, strength, and hope. And some get sober and some do not.
Yeah.
And some don't make it.
Yeah. That's tough.
But that's what we do. And, they tell you when you come in, you're going to be stepping over bodies. And if you're around long enough, that is a fact.
Yep.
Yeah.
you know. But you know, the reward of helping someone else. Early on, my sponsors said, you know, when you call me, you're helping me. I was like, what a crock of shit.
Right.
But he
so
was right.
sappy
He
here.
was right.
Yeah.
You know, because I know when my people call me, it's like, oh, that's good.
Yeah, as long as they're not drunk at 3 o'clock
Yes.
in the morning.
Yeah, then I
Please
just don't. I say, call me when you're
Yeah,
not drunk.
yeah.
And I hang
Yeah.
up.
But it is.
Don't
It's
even
it's a
answer.
great feeling. Like, I got a text today, and I sent it to my wife, you know, just not the details of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, my God, that's me now, right? How can somebody think that about me based on what I used to be? It's nuts.
Yeah, I was saying this in a meeting not too long ago that when you first come in, I think you have to be entirely selfish. You know what I mean? You have
It's
to
a selfish program.
make time for that. And
Yes.
they say that, but then they also say it's a selfless program too, which I think happens
Later.
as you get healthier and all that,
Yeah.
you know, where you have to, while you're still taking care of yourself, start taking care of others.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that analogy of, you know, the oxygen mask dropping down from the ceiling of the plane is apt.
Absolutely.
You have to
Exactly.
take care of yourself so that you can
Right.
take care of other people in your life, like your kids or your spouse or
Yeah, that was
your
a
job.
big sacrifice in the beginning for me with 3 little kids.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
yeah.
telling
You
my
know, it
wife
takes
and
time.
them that I just can't be here right now.
You gotta
so
put the
I can
time
be here
in.
later.
Yeah.
You know, got to put the time in both at meetings and on the phone and reading and attending step studies and all that stuff is crucial. And I know for a lot of people dive into it and they put the drink down and then you never see them
That's
again.
it.
Yeah, I know. It's so sad because I do see a lot of people that have done that and then, you know, they're back at it or whatever.
Yeah.
They're just miserable for the rest of their lives. I don't know. I'm sure some people are okay.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
but-
they are. I mean, some people come in
Yeah.
and they get clean and they go out and they don't go back to AA, but they don't drink again. But I got to tell you, I did that.
Yeah.
You did?
And I did.
Okay.
And I didn't drink again, but my old thinking returned.
Mm-hmm.
It took a
How
while.
long were you out?
I didn't go to meetings for 7 years, and I
okay.
never drank, and I never wanted to. But my thinking changed, my behavior changed, and things started going really poorly for me. And at one point, it hit this, you know, mass where I was like, "Oh my God, I need to go back to AA."
Yeah,
Let's
man.
think about them.
And the thing is, it was I forgot about the design for living I was given, and I stopped practicing it. And I thought about it, so I thought I still had it, but I wasn't practicing it.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about practicing it. So I came back to AA, and it was the best thing I ever did.
that's so good. You
And
could
he's
come
so
back.
good now.
Yeah, well, I'm still struggling, but
Oh,
you know,
please.
yeah, it's you know, there's always new stuff to learn, man.
Yeah,
I hear new
right.
stuff all the time.
Yeah.
It is.
And
It's such
I-
a great life, and I love to listen to like newcomers.
I was just going to say that newcomer meetings,
Isn't
ooh,
it great?
the best.
I know when somebody raises their hand, I'm like, oh yay!
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you get everybody talk so much because they want to say the right thing. You know, it's so funny because then when you're the person on the receiving end of that,
It's
you're
like,
not hearing. It's
wah,
like, wow,
wah, wah.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. If you get a couple
yeah.
lines, you're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, yeah,
What really sucks though is when somebody comes in like that and then you just never see them again.
yeah.
And you just think, you know what? Maybe they got to go out for a couple more years,
Oh yeah.
get arrested a
yeah.
couple more times, beat the shit out of themselves, and hopefully we'll see them again.
But the thing
Sometimes
is,
we do.
in a lot of those cases, they heard something, and it's always in their head as they move forward with their
Yeah.
debauchery. And then eventually, well, I mean, you were exposed to AA at 16, and when you knew where to go,
Right.
you know? So,
yeah.
because you had that little bit of exposure
Itty
there.
bitty bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
So
Yeah.
lucky though.
Right.
I mean,
well, we are. I mean,
Well, can you imagine if you'd never found the program? If you had never found sobriety? Well, you wouldn't be alive, I'm sure.
no.
I wouldn't either.
yeah, prior
No.
to the 1900s. Yeah, that'd be pretty bad.
Right.
I mean,
Oh, if you lived prior to that. I thought you meant we did.
no.
We're not that old, Brett.
Get over your,
Hey.
get over your
Hey.
insecurities.
How old do you think I am?
I heard the same thing. So
See?
take it easy over there, Brett.
Take it easy.
You'll
on
be
the-
here someday.
on the AARPers.
Are we finished?
No, there's plenty more to go. No, we've got a few more minutes, and I just I wanted to ask you what message you would have for someone who was in your shoes when you first came back to that, when you were desperate, when you were hurting, and you just wanted an answer. You know, what can you tell?
Or even
someone?
what would you have told yourself?
Well, I just think that, I think people say for the grace of God go I, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I hear people say that a lot, but I think all of us have God's grace. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to have a little mustard seed of willingness, you know, and I think that I would tell that person, you're worth it. You're worth it, you know. I mean, you might not feel like you are right now. You might feel awful and hate yourself and think that everybody hates you, and maybe they do. But you are worth it, and you don't have to live this way.
Right. You can come out on the other side of this.
Yeah.
If you take action.
Yeah. And it could just be showing up here. I mean, 'cause that's all I did was just show up to meetings.
And I, like most alcoholics, and I'm sure you too, when you knew alcohol wasn't working for you anymore, you tried to quit drinking.
Right.
But you could not do it.
Oh, my God, yeah. I mean, I had, like, diaries where it would say, like, QSP, quit smoking pot, or, you know, then I would just drink, like, Doers because I couldn't afford it, and I would buy a bottle, and then, I mean, I was always writing bad checks and stuff, but, you know, I mean, constantly trying.
Right.
And then, like, James D., I know you know him, said one time that waking up the next morning and knew that you're so disappointed that you've woken up the same way that you promised that you weren't going to.
Right.
You know, every single day.
Yeah.
It's madness.
It is Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
It is insanity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
But, you know, we have this ability to ignore that or stuff it or deny it
Right.
and keep doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and if we're really lucky, what happened to me and what happened to you two happens.
Yeah.
And you're just like, holy shit, I have to do something. I have to do it now. And then you do.
Yep.
And I remember sitting in Early Birds thinking, boy, if you don't stick with this might be your last chance. Mm-hmm. And I really think it was, you know, I mean, I just don't know that I would have. I did relapse at like 8 months.
Did you?
Yeah. I had no
Conveniently
business.
left that out of the whole story.
Oh, sorry. It was only like a 3-day bender, but I had a friend who was a Ukrainian, and she had asked me to be at her wedding.
Oh, we know what they do.
Yeah, hoop by, shoot by. They even give you a shot with they give you a piece
First
of wedding
time I
cake.
went to,
It's crazy.
They had a tap right in the church.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, right in the fellowship
yeah.
hall or whatever you call it. Anyways.
Anyway, yeah. But I knew I shouldn't go, and I even went up to the 7 o'clock up on James Street, the old fellowship hall on James Street.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you went to
I'm
a
looking
meeting,
at you.
Like, you went to a meeting like before that?
I went to
Before
a
the
meeting
wedding?
at 7 o'clock in the morning and said, I'm a
This'll
little
help.
nervous about this wedding, knowing full well that I was going to
Did everyone
drink.
say don't go?
Yeah, everybody was like, don't go. And I was like, I already have a dress. I'm in the wedding. You know I have to go. But
And you went.
yeah, so I ended up going, and like all the bad stuff that I normally would do all happened over that weekend again. So
Did you come back and raise your hand?
I came back. I remember coming home on a Monday morning, and like my face was on the hardwood floor in the living room, and I was like, I'm either going to get a cab and go try to find my car, or I'm going to call Kate. And I ended up calling Kate.
How about
you
that?
know? And yeah, so then I would go to the meetings and I would cry about it because I felt like such a loser, and I was just thinking I'll never get it again. And she'd be like, "Oh, just stop crying. You know, you don't have to say anything.
Yeah.
Just listen."
We always say put the baseball bat away.
Yes, exactly.
And don't forget what it felt like. That's all.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
I bounced in and out for the first 6 months, and that
Okay.
last bender that I had was a 3-dayer.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I just felt so awful in
Yeah.
my gut, in my soul. It was soul crushing. That's how I describe it.
And that's perfect, though, right?
It
because
is.
you know that what they're telling you, you know, that you don't have to live this way is true because you've seen people doing it.
And that head full of AA with a belly full of booze is
Yeah.
the
Bad
worst.
mix, man. It is.
Yeah. It's kind of,
Yeah. It
Yeah,
makes
it
you
ruins
hate your
it.
drinking.
But
Yeah.
you realize that everybody didn't hate you,
Right.
and
No.
where you were going, everybody loved you.
That's right.
And
That's
that is
right.
the case.
Well,
So
they
if you're thinking
tolerated me
that-
anyway.
Yeah, well, you know, they
Well,
love
right.
me, but
Well, you
they
know.
put up with me, and
I
that's
was a
enough.
whiner.
That could be enough. So, well, it's been great having you on, Jen. And until next time on the Glum Lot Podcast, I'm Mark.
I'm Brett.
I'm Jen.
As we wrap up another episode of the Glum Lot Podcast, we want to extend our heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you who tuned in today. Navigating the path to recovery from alcohol and other substances is a journey filled with challenges, triumphs, and self-discovery.
Remember, we're not affiliated with Alcoholics Anonymous, but we're here to provide a safe space for open conversations about the complexities of recovery. Your stories, courage, and resilience inspire us and our listeners alike. If you or someone you know is on the transformative journey, know that you're not alone. Join us next time as we continue to explore the diverse facets of recovery. Until then, stay strong, stay connected, and remember that each day is a step towards a brighter, sober tomorrow. Thank you for being part of the Glum Lot community.